So when we talk about films that set a standard, of course we cannot neglect the work of Federico Fellini. Now Fellini is basically an entertainer, but he has also produced some of the more profound movies that you will see. When we talk about films that set standards, we cannot neglect the films of Federico Fellini. Fellini was one of the real masters of the 20th century, the late 20th century, along with Bergman and along with Tarkovsky, along with Kubrick. He had produced a number of very fine and classic films. Beginning with La Strada, he has a almost perfect track record. But within those very, very marvelous films that he makes, one of them being another pinnacle in the history of film called La Dolce Vita, the film that made all the difference and that changed the vocabulary of filmmaking is a film called Eight and a Half. It's called Eight and a Half because he had made a short film that he considered to be a half of a movie, and by the time he made Eight and a Half, he had made 7.5 movies. So this was his Eight and a Half movie. That was the title. The title itself is unorthodox, and the movie is basically filled with innovation, with visual concepts, with a whole format of the way you tell a movie that created a difference in the film industry. It basically is a visionary film that requires you to watch it in quite a different state. You're not going to see a film that has a story from beginning to end. You're not going to be able to be shepherded through easily when he changes from past to present. You're not going to be shepherded through when he changes from the imagination to the present. This is a film that jumps around through all the aspects of a person's kind of basic, the place they're in when they're present in a film. But it does suggest that we can't know people unless we know something about their dreams, something about their imaginations, something about what they're thinking, and something about what's happening to them in their actual life. So he mixes these things up in a big soup that is highly entertaining and is extremely sort of awe-inspiring. It also catches you. You have to be on the ball all the time. It's one of the most, it's a film in which the viewer has to be present to be able to understand what is going on. So the film opens, for example, in a dream. And that dream immediately goes into real life. And we watch a film director struggling with what he's going to do with a film that he's making. And he really doesn't know. He has all sorts of elements in the film that he's filmed, and he has all sorts of sets ready to be filmed, but he doesn't exactly know what he's going to do with them. So the entire film mixes up his own personal life and all of the problems he's having with his wives and his mistresses, and he basically, it comes to a conclusion in which the end of the film is exactly the film he has wanted to make. So these elements are going to throw you. Sometimes he uses sound to make the bridge between the scenes. Sometimes he uses imagery to do that. Basically, you just have to be on the ball because you don't know what he's doing. Sometimes he dresses a scene realistically that looks like a symbolic scene. For example, there's a scene in a steam bath that reminds you somewhat of the purgatory and deals with religious matters. He touches on so many different themes that are important to life. He touches on the theme of religion, about what people believe, the themes of matrimony and about when people are unfaithful and when they are faithful. But all of these themes are dealt with in the terms of making a movie. And so you really basically see all of the background of what it takes to make a movie, the sets and the costumes, the ideas, and when you actually have screen tests. All of these things are mixed up with symbols that of things that are dealing with and he's grappling with in his real life. So the I think the film is a wonder. It is a film that you may return to again and again. I think I've seen the film maybe 15 times. I've never become tired of it. I'm always delighted, and I love returning to scene after scene. They're done so beautifully, and they're done so perfectly that it sets a standard for films that have copied it ever since. All of the films we have that deal with the imagination, that jump around in time, that jump around with the imagination and the dream world of people, they are prevalent in our modern day filmmaking. But they all come from this granddaddy of film that stands at the top and on the peak of filmmaking, and that is 8.5. I hope you enjoy some of the scenes. I hope you have great fun. I hope you laugh a lot and you sort of are puzzled a lot so that we can have a lot to talk about at the end. But I am really happy to show you this marvelous film.